Hi, I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. My channel is dedicated to helping victims of narcissistic abuse get free and stay free. During our time together, we have seen thousands of people wake up. We have seen countless people get free. We have seen so much positive change occurring in people's lives. People who had otherwise been victimized by a narcissist are now awake and going on to flourish and really make positive changes. And I think that's wonderful. Now, I will say that I'm almost a year out, and I want to talk about what the last year has been like for me. Going back to when I was with Trevor, living in that horrendous house of pain, wallowing in misery daily, there was a point, there was that moment where I'd absolutely come to realize that I could no longer tolerate that type of abuse in my life. I could not live in the chaos. I couldn't live in the insanity. I could no longer live a lie. I could not continue to be gaslit. I couldn't remain on eggshells. I just couldn't do it anymore. None of it. My mind was spinning. My heart was broken. My soul was crushed. And it had to end. It absolutely had to end. And I think that was the first real sort of awakening for me when I came to realize that that wasn't a man. That wasn't a man that I was in love with or was in love with me or that I was building any sort of a future with. I came to realize that I was actually trapped, held hostage by what I perceived to be an absolutely demonic piece of shit, masking as a man. From that moment of awakening, of course, I had to develop an exit strategy, one that was going to be very secretive and very covert, because the one thing I'd come to recognize is that no matter what I did, he was going to sabotage it with great intent. So I really had to plan my exit strategy very carefully over a 7-month period of time. And yes, I did get out. I got out with pretty much all of my possessions. Everything that I wanted to get out with, I did. And I was able to secretly save some money to do that. Now, part of my exit strategy and what really presented a challenge for me was that I was living in the province of Alberta, and it was my intention to return to my home in the province of Saskatchewan. So I had quite a bit of distance between my stuff and my little country home that I own. So there was a tremendous amount of groundwork. I mean, we were pounding the Trans-Canada Highway for months, my son and I, trying to set up our home, get our things moved, and things like that. So there was a lot going on. And of course, I was very emotionally injured at the time. I was completely disorientated and confused from all the gaslighting and mindfuckery. So I don't really know what the secret to executing that plan was, except to say absolute personal determination, because a lot of that time is a blur to me. I was still wallowing in misery. I was extremely heartbroken. I was extremely confused, but I was absolutely locked on to the fact that I was out of there. And I think it was just the fact that I feel like I had gone almost mindlessly into autopilot, where I had to get out no matter what. And that is ultimately what I did. Move, the repairs, the renovations, the decorating that was taking place at my home really kept me distracted and really kept me busy and focused on establishing a new home and a new life. So initially, I really didn't have a lot of time to reflect on what had happened. The house came together, and as I started to sort of regain my footing, I think I was experiencing a bit of a pink bubble, a bit of an elation, a thrill, an excitement about being free, and really recognizing the difference, because I did feel free, like I really felt free, where with Trevor in the house of pain, in that horrible, disgusting relationship, I really felt enslaved. Time goes on, days are passing, and the pink bubble bursts. And there I am, absolutely confronted with the reality of the situation. Now, the reality of the situation, my God, it's so vast. I mean, coming to terms with the fact that someone I love very much was quite likely a demon-possessed psychopath, coming to terms with the fact that someone I love very much actually had no capacity to love me, but actually got a thrill off hurting me and was very intentionally, very covertly, in a very methodical and calculated way, chipping away at my life, destroying my life, reducing me to a shell of the person I had once been. Monies that I had saved were gone. My career was in ruins. And all of a sudden, with the pink bubble burst, there was this absolute wave of reality swept over me. And it was absolutely soul-wrenching, stomach-turning. It caused... I don't even know how to describe it. I just felt so diminished, so incapacitated, so humiliated that I had loved someone and was unable for 5 years to recognize that this person's only interest in me was to truly suck my soul out and harm me in every way imaginable, really intending on destroying me, my life, my family. And it had happened. Like, that's what had happened to me. And why? Because I'd fallen in love. That's what had happened. And the exchange for the love and compassion that I had shown was absolute destruction. Where the heartbreak really kind of ceased for me was in stripping away the emotion and really looking at it factually, not trying to process it and reason it, because I think for a sane mind, constantly trying to make sense of insanity is just too hard on our heads. It was certainly too hard on my head. So I kind of got to a point of just acceptance where I said, okay, this is what it is. This is what it was. There's no changing the past, but I can control the outcome of the future. I think the biggest breakthrough for me was finding you guys and realizing I wasn't alone. Finding you guys validated what had happened to me. It validated the way I was feeling, and it most certainly gave me the hope, the courage, and the strength to move beyond the nightmare of that relationship. Now, I am 1 year out, and certainly the quality of my life has improved quite radically. Certainly, I still suffer some symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. Some of those would be the odd, now very rare night terror when they had been quite frequent. A lot of the physical symptoms that I had been experiencing, of course, have diminished. And I do definitely still find my mind wandering back to that time now and then, but have been able to gain the skills to cut that off very quickly and redirect my thinking. Really trying to stay focused on the positive aspects of my life has reduced my mind from visiting the nightmare of that relationship, and that has certainly helped. And of course, a year later, it's a whole new world for me. I'm very happy with my home. I'm very happy with new relationships I've established. I'm very happy with the direction of my life. I think maybe I would like to have been a bit farther ahead when it comes to career or revisiting past hobbies and past interests. But for the most part, I think it's been a day-by-day process. I've not experienced a lot of drag back every day, even if the step has been small. I felt that there was a step forward. I'm very, very lucky in so much as I didn't have any kind of financial obligations really with the narcissist. We didn't have children together or things like that. So when I was, ready to leave, I could just sever and go. Now, for those of you, of course, who have got these long-term commitments and ties, I know that's a whole different set of circumstances. Coming to realize that what you're dealing with is not a loving relationship, and coming to terms with the fact that you have to leave and establishing an exit strategy and all the things that come with that is definitely a challenge. And I certainly faced a lot of challenges getting to this point, but my God, has it been worth it. Though my life is not exactly where I want it to be today, it is a lot closer than it was a year ago when I was still in that horrible relationship. I think it's really just a matter of time and acceptance. Guys, I did it and you can do it too. Even if you're only able to take baby steps, it's better than nothing. I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. I hope you guys are having a great narc-free day.